folks. If you're there, we go. Okay, we're live. Welcome back, folks, to the Electronic Front Porch. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your Front Porch Conservative. This is the inestimable Reuben Christopher Haynes, the Bedroom Conservative, known to some as the Legend, and so many other titles, some of which you can even say on YouTube. So, and Rumble, for some reason, is having trouble. I don't quite know why. What is going on with Rumble? You better not be giving me issues. Hang on. Let me see if I can. We're having trouble with your destination. It's possible the stream was edited or deleted. This can occur. Okay. All right. Cool. I'll check that out at some point. But in the meanwhile, welcome back, everybody. We are glad to have you here. We're doing live stream coverage of the Donald Trump town hall appearance on Hannity tonight on Fox News. And, you know, it's going to be a real interesting night. People have been giving, Donald Trump either credit or discredit for not attending the Republican debates, which, depends on where you're at on the issue, where you're at on him. I can understand why. But on the other hand, when you start looking at some of the information we're going to bring you, you might begin to understand why he does not feel the need to attend these debates and why he's seeking out alternative media opportunities on the night when these debates take place. So we're going to get into some of that. Reuben, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm glad being here. And of course, I have to bring my head in here. Get ready to go. I'm not going to lie. But here's the one thing I'll tell everybody, and this is the truth. I've thought about it for a very, very long time. Every presidential election I ever voted for, I actually was voting against the other guy. So I basically chose the lesser of two evils. And for the first time, we're actually in 2020, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. And people that I've either voted Republican or independent. So I voted for Perot twice as well. So again, feels like the second time that I'm actually voting for somebody that I care about, because again, it's the one thing that we bring to the table, or I talk about, and we talk about a lot. It's authenticity, and that authenticity is very key, and that helps bring everybody together. Because that's the idea. Because again, this hat to me is not a Trump hat. It's an American hat. Like my father, I keep this next to me. This was on my father's grave, and this is a memento I have. This American flag and the American eagle, it represents one thing to me: the American people. It doesn't represent the government. It represents you, me, the person on the street, the person that helps you at your church, at your grocery store, the attendant, your dry cleaner, the grocer, your gardener, your mother, your wife, your child, everybody. It's us together, just real people who have hopes and dreams. And again, I still believe in the American dream. That's why I'm very passionate about politics, or the political theater, civics, but political parties, I don't like it. So that's why, again, we're here, and let's see what happens tonight. So I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Reuben. And also thank you for realizing what I was doing in the background.
Yes, exactly.
I love the way you see, this is why we make a good partnership doing this, because you realize, okay, the dude's trying to straighten this Rumble thing out. Let's see what we can make happen here. I'm going to pull this.
Yes, of course. I'm the master. I am the master of even though these glasses are old, these are older pair, but they fit the whole outfit I was doing. I can tell. I know these things. Again, you read the room. Always read the room.
Okay, and we got some folks. Why do you guys think Trump chose Well, okay. I'll take that one on first, then Reuben, I'll get your take on it. I mean, here's my thing. I am of the conclusion they're old acquaintances. They know each other, even though Trump has got problems with Fox News in general. I think he respects Hannity enough that he knows he'll get a fair shake. And, that's just my take on it. I mean, they're old acquaintances. They're Florida residents together. So, that's what I think is going on. Reuben, I'll get your take on this as well.
I completely agree. The idea they have a history and they've had their problems. But again, Hannity at the very beginning, even back in 2016, was a Trump loyalist, and he was battling with Glenn Beck against Trump's loyalty. And again, I sided with Glenn Beck at the time because I still didn't vote for Trump, so I didn't know, it was an unknown entity to me. But again, and I go back to the following: Hannity and Trump have a history. The people who he had long history with are the ones that trust him the most because he's been loyal to them. And you see it. I go back and I see videos of Trump in the 60s, 70s, 80s, all things he was doing, the people he was involved with, where places he would go. He was everywhere because he was just the guy that walked in and emanated class, prestige, and just the idea that it was the embodiment of the American dream that he instituted. So that's how it is. And I go back, it's very, very logical. And again, if you want to know the character of a man, look at his children and how they are. And you can and then again, the stark reality: Biden's children, Biden's family, and the Trump family. You see again, it goes back to what I said: make America great. This represents the American people. And I look at Trump and his family and how he treats his children and how he instills, don't do drugs, don't get tattoos, don't drink. I rarely drink. And again, it's a choice. And I respect anybody who, because again, party all you want. But again, there's accountability when it goes from your actions. And the actions of Trump his entire life. He knows the system well. And Dave Chappelle was right on Saturday Night Live when he said that Trump knows what's going on. Yeah, they're screwing you over. Really? They are? Yes, he knows that. But he didn't know how bad it was. And that's why Fox News changed, because again, there are forces out there that just do not want Trump back, because they want to keep things as they are. And that's they want to hold on to their power.
Absolutely.
And Trump realizes that, man, it's really corrupt. Again, he called out DeSantis, and I remember you and I had that conversation when we that first thing where he came out against DeSantis, and we were like, why is he doing this? And we were questioning Trump, or at least I was. And then now I realize what DeSantis really was. Again, people want power and they corrupt themselves because they haven't earned the responsibility to have that power. And that power has corrupted them. And again, I have done things. I'm not a saint. I've done things I regret. I'm making amends. And that's the whole thing. That's why I want my life to be based on love and happiness and authenticity now. Because if I am going to call out anything, I want to be true. So, that's why I'm here, because I support this man, because he's doing this. And Hannity's to give him a fair shake. And again, Fox News, Hannity, Trump in prime time. Yeah, anybody can watch us now. It's gonna go viral. And that's why he's doing it on Fox News too.
I tend to agree with you, and I also want to. I've got to thank you, because up in Connecticut, I've got to explain this, and people think, well, why are you explaining a super chat? Well, first of all, this is the very first super chat my channel has ever gotten vis-a-vis YouTube. And the reason for that is I just received my notification today that I have been made a YouTube partner. And for a little channel that's been around just a little over 8 months, or just about 8 months, and now we've gotten monetized, this is probably one of the most amazing things. Yeah, thank you so much. I cannot even begin to thank you. I mean, I wasn't even going to bring up super chats or whatever, because most people are watching for watching. However, since the door's been now open, if you feel like so inclined, you're freely welcome to do so. But I am not going to make an issue of it until after the holidays. Okay, so yeah, there's that man.
Hello, America, baby. See, that's what I'm saying.
Go.
This is what I'm saying. The embodiment of American dream. I met Brian back in Orlando last year, and we became quick friends. We were hanging out. We had lunch. We had brunch. We did a lot of things. And his channel was, how much? It was pretty small,
Non-existent.
Oh, non-existent.
Yeah, it was non-existent.
Okay, again, that's the whole point. The conception point occurred because you came there and you left there inspired to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. Coming together as Americans. Forget the bullshit out there, what they say. It's if you have a problem, look within and then go to the people that you care about and reach out to someone you care about. And Brian has done this. And again, it's an accomplishment that within just not even a year, right? Or a little over a year.
Less than a year. Less than
Less
a
than a
year.
year. Less than a year. You've in the last 2 weeks, you've had 2 big milestones. His stream that you did, 610 was a peak around there, more around that less.
Yeah.
But there were other streams out there that were going on. Comics Division had a stream, he had 125. Mark Harlow had one, he had 250. You had 610. So it means something. And then you got the 900 hours, and then you had this announcement. This again, things are going to change because again, it's based on authenticity, and that's something. Every dollar that you spend out there and give to Brian is going to an American, and he's going to pump it back because we're going to do more of these for 2024 and beyond because there's a lot to talk about. And it's just, and again, I don't have a political agenda. I have an American agenda and about being true to yourself in love, and I want to be a better man. That's the most important thing to me, and that's why I'm here. That's why I love America.
Well, thank you, Ruben. I genuinely appreciate that. So in the few minutes that we've got left before this gets started on Fox News, I just want to go over some things for the benefit of the audience to kind of give them a feel for where the Republican nomination campaign is in terms of chronology and also polling. So let's start first with something from NBC. And I thought this was pretty useful. This is straight on NBC's website. We are now basically, call it 40 days out from the Iowa caucuses. They will be on January 15th, which is a Monday. 8 days after that will be the New Hampshire primary. After that, basically a period of, call it 10 days, is the South Carolina primary. Now, there are lots of states that will take votes between then and now. So, I mean, some people might sit there and go, well, it's just 3 different political events. How critical could it be to what's going on? Oh, and Gypsy, I know. Bless your heart. Believe me, I'm working on it, darling. I'm trying to figure out a way around the problem. But thank you for coming back over. But I will get the thing fixed if I can.
It broke again. Shit.
Yeah, it's for some reason it's not picking up the stream, and I'm not sure why. I may have to delete it and completely reload it.
Yeah,
but if I have to, I will.
Yeah, if you need me to do something and go, yeah, I'll do it. I'll take it over if you need any help.
No, but let me get through some of this first, and then I'll see what I can do while we're listening to Trump at the beginning of this. You may say to yourself, well, it's just 3 calendar events. How important could it be? Well, depending on who wins and how dominant they are, by the end of the South Carolina primary, this thing, I won't say is over with, because there are going to be other contested primaries upcoming. As a matter of fact, I go a little further down into the calendar, and you'll have, let's see, let me find them here real fast. Oh, I'm sorry. The 3rd is the Democrat primary. About a month later is 24th of February is the Republican primary. So I apologize for that. But if you're looking at this on the calendar, you get to the tail end of February, and then you keep going further down. Early March, you've got Michigan. And then the big one, which is the 5th of March, is Super Tuesday, 16 different states.
Yeah.
So this thing could get real over. I mean, I hate to sound like I'm using bad English, but real over real fast. Now, going back to these first events on January 15th, and then January 23rd, and then for the Republican side, 24th of February, where does everything stand in the polling? Well, take a look at this. This is the Iowa caucus, and there's been some recent polling done, but Trump currently right now is holding an almost 30-point lead if you average the most recent polls together. Going further into New Hampshire, Trump is holding, again, an almost 30-point lead. The most recent polling was done mid-November. And then finally to South Carolina, and he's got, again, an almost 30-point lead depending on averages. So right now his dominance is there. Now, as far as nationally, he's holding an almost 50-point lead if you believe the average of the polls. And again, I'm always a little leery of that, but then again, it's kind of amazing to watch. The general election, head to head, Trump against Biden, Trump's got a lead, which is pretty remarkable because never in 2016 and never in 2020 did Donald Trump ever lead. Now, if you're wondering what it looks like if you throw in multiple candidates, here you go. Trump's lead widens against Biden. It spreads out to almost 6 points. And again, a lot of that's going to be dependent upon which third-party candidates are on which ballots in which states. So, and if you thought all that was interesting, we may even get one more candidate. Ruben, have you heard about this?
No.
Liz Cheney thinks she wants to get into this thing.
Don't even try. Jesus.
Well, and funny you say that, because I saw a reaction to this. Simon Atiba of Today News Africa, and I agree with his take. Liz Cheney is deeply unpopular on the right, will likely have zero impact on whether Trump is reelected or not. She's deeply despised on the right and may only appeal to Democrats, as her candidacy could potentially divert votes from President Biden due to her appeal to some independents, former Republicans, and some Democrats. And I don't disagree with that. I think that is altogether possible. So that's the most recent news that we've got.
Oh my gosh.
Caught up as this point. So, so right now we're just basically waiting for this thing to start. We've got about 4 minutes, I think. In the meanwhile, Ruben, you've now looked at this polling. You've been watching this thing going on for a while.
Yeah.
Give me some thoughts. While you're doing that, I'm going to see what I can do about our current Rumble problem.
Go ahead. So regarding the polls that we see right now, I predict that this thing will go very, very quickly, despite anything happening. And the only thing that would be happening is if anything happens on the war front, because currently right now we have many lines of different political lines crisscrossing right now. We have the FBI being under scrutiny. You have the laptop story that is now coming out. We have the actual evidence of bribery being pushed out there. And and again, people are seeing this now, and this reflects in what the polls are showing. And again, as we have mounting evidence happening, and we know that these Democrats are going to continue to stout these lies. But if we have people like Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis to a certain extent, he's again weasel. You have to be you're either on the side of truth or you're on the side of the deception that's going on here. And it's breaking down right now where you see it. I see it on Instagram, I see it on TikTok. I talk to people. Again, a good story for me is that I'm reuniting with a very close friend of mine, and hopefully, I did ask her yesterday, or no, I told her yesterday, I'll make you an honest one. I'll marry you, but I have to rebuild my empire and get myself out of a hole of where I've been, and she's going to help me do that. And that's what a friend does, and that's what we do when Americans are hurting. We come together, and we've been both through a lot of pain. We've all been through a lot of pain, all 350 million Americans, and we see what's going on. And again, we see there's no hope. But when people poll, and people are going to go to these caucuses, because remember, a caucus and an election are very, very different. A caucus, the way a caucus works, people come together and you talk about with the candidates in there. A caucus is a very different animal. And the Iowa caucus is an extension of what the American dream is, what it does, and how it brings together where you can sit down and with them. And the joke is, what if they say, it's like, if you go, how many, if you're from Iowa, how many times have you seen the presidential candidate? And you see them all the time because they're always there. Because it's a bellwether state. It's right in the middle, and it helps us understand who we are. And it's going to be very telling how many people are going to start to notice those that, because again, Iowa being first, you're going to have the groundwork. Okay, Trump has X amount, which would be a very large amount, probably over 75% of the vote in Iowa may go to him. And then the 25 that's left are going to be the stronghold. And as soon as that vote comes out, you're going to see alliances happen. People are going to drop out immediately. And then it's going to start to go bit by bit. And then the last vestiges are the last vestiges of those who retain power, just like the Democrats want to retain, just like Liz Cheney, just like the January 6th committee and what they did to America, what the FBI is still doing to Americans, spying on them, the data you're using. And again, I'm done with it.
Ruben,
is it all working now?
No, I hate to cut you short. We're going to need to get this started because at this point, I believe we are live. So I'm going to drop this down, and I think they're just about there. So let me get this thing pulled up so we can share it with everybody. And we will go from there. And here we go.
Bob from Houston, Texas. Jesse in Home Alone 2, Trump gave Kevin direction. That's what this country needs right now. Not only direction, but a Fox News Sherpa blanket for Christmas. I'm Waters, and this is my world. And welcome to Hannity, and tonight we are in beautiful Davenport, Iowa, with a massive crowd. Welcome all of you. Thank you for being here. Wow. And in a little more than 1 month, the very first Republican caucus will be held right here in this state, as it should be. And by the way, in just a moment, the candidate leading the Republican field by far, Donald J. Trump, will join us for the full hour tonight. Let's be clear. In 2024, the stakes could not be any higher. After 3 years under Joe Biden, our country is imploding on every level. Our economy is wrecked by inflation. Our southern border is an utter disaster. The American people are not safe. Take a look.
What I would say that is unique about the environment that we're in right now in my career is that while there may have been times over the years where individual threats could have been higher here or there than where they may be now, I've never seen a time where all the threats, or so many of the threats, are all elevated, all at exactly the same time. That's what makes this environment that we're in now so fraught.
Are you concerned that international terrorism threats to the home are rising as the border continues to be broken?
I am concerned that we are in an elevated threat environment, a heightened threat environment from foreign terrorist organizations for a whole host of reasons. And obviously their ability to exploit any port of entry.
Oh, sorry, folks. Okay.
Including our southwest border is a source of concern.
Now, that was the FBI Director, Christopher Wray, today on Capitol Hill. Make no mistake, our wide open Joe Biden border is now a massive national security nightmare. It is a clear and present danger, and it is only getting worse every day under President Biden. In the past 2 years, well, over 6,000 illegal immigrants from Afghanistan have crossed our southern border, along with 3,000 Egyptians, more than 600 Iranians, Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, more than 500 Syrians, 12,000 Russians, and a whopping 26,000 people from China. This is a dire national security crisis, but that is only one part of the problem. For years, America's bloated bureaucracy, it has now become politicized. That includes the FBI, the DOJ, which have wasted precious time and resources with political motivated witch hunts. They're looking into traditional Catholics or angry parents that go to school board meetings or pro-life advocates that are nonviolent, Trump supporters, Donald Trump himself. Instead of investigating real threats like terrorism, human trafficking, drug trafficking, gang violence, the FBI, their hyper-partisan Washington field office, has obsessively, compulsively been targeting one person, one man, one family, and that's Donald Trump, the Trump Organization, and the Trump family. So now the 45th president is vowing to fight back and obliterate the deep state. Let's take a look.
If you put me back in the White House, their reign is over. Their reign will be over. And they know it. And America will be a free nation once again. We're not a free nation right now. We don't have free press. We don't have free anything. In 2016, I declared, I am your voice. Today, I add, I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. Not going to let this happen.
Now, that's become a controversy among the left. Wrong, as he said earlier, but we'll play that for him and get a response tonight. Now, that's an important promise. America's weaponized, politicized bureaucracy, it's got to be dismantled. The far left hacks and the media mob, of course, they disagree. And once again, they are predicting doom and gloom if Donald Trump is elected. Here's the Washington Post yesterday, quote, "The fear of a looming Trump dictatorship." And this is today's headline from Salon.com. Americans are sleepwalking into a Trump dictatorship. It's now their favorite word. Over at fake news, all cable news channels, they're featuring, the same brand of fear mongering. Obviously, it's clear they don't want to talk about Joe Biden and his failed record. Take a look.
Dictatorship. Is that what we would have if we reelect Donald Trump?
I think it's a very, very real threat and concern.
I think the phrase sleepwalking into a dictatorship should wake people up.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's not going to be the kind of dictatorship with concentration camps and martial law overnight, is it? That's not what we're going to get. We're going to get Trump borrowing from the Orban playbook in Hungary, from the Modi playbook in India. And what does that look like, Jason? What would that look like here in America?
Fears of a dictatorship, the alarming prediction for a second Trump term.
Liz Cheney is right, what she said, that we are sleepwalking into a Donald Trump dictatorship if people don't wake up and remember what Donald Trump was to the 4 years, what he tried to do to our democracy.
Here's the thing. We already know what would happen under a Trump presidency. Why? Because he's already been president. Lower taxes, stronger growth, a secure border, peace in the Middle East, new trade deals, energy independence, and a push to reform our bloated bureaucracy. There was no dictatorship. We did not lose our constitutional rights. We did not go to war. The people who hate Donald Trump, they simply have been and continue to lie to you. Now it's Joe Biden who has been using the justice system, his DOJ, to inflict retribution against his political rivals. And it's Joe Biden who called Donald Trump's supporters a, quote, threat to America. The very guy that says MAGA Republican, making America great is somehow bad. And it's Joe Biden who is leading this country into the brink of yet another possible war. And that's why Donald Trump is now beating Joe Biden in almost every major poll. Take a look at your screen. Latest Messenger Harris survey has Trump against Joe Biden up by 6 points. So now the big question, can Donald Trump seal the deal and get the country back on track? Joining us now for the full hour, the 45th president of the United States, Davenport. Welcome, former president.
Thank you, man.
He really knows how to walk in the room.
And still commands with presence.
No, exactly. He's just gonna look at it. He walks like my dad did. He walks like my father used to walk in.
I love my show. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Great to see you.
Okay. Good to see you. No, thank you.
Before we get into issues, and we have a lot to get into, let's talk about these polls. By the way, I've lost all control of this debate as well. Here we go. When you look at this, you look at the polls, you see the enthusiasm, you've done rallies and crowds.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the race?
I feel great. I feel it has to be. If it's not, we're going to be in big trouble. We're not going to have a country anymore. We have no choice. And we have had enthusiasm. Look, we did phenomenally in 2016. We did much better in 2020. And I will tell you, the enthusiasm, some bad things happened, but the enthusiasm that they have now is bigger than either of those two races. And we're actually less than a year out, but close to a year. I've never seen anything like it. We have crowds that are incredible. In Iowa, we were here last week. We had overflow crowds. And other candidates have like 7 people standing in a farm, and they're talking. And it's a very nice thing to watch, especially for me. I enjoy watching that. But we have tremendous enthusiasm because they want to see, I see Biden talking about, MAGA, MAGA. MAGA means make America great again. That's what it means. That's what people want. They want, see that gentleman? They want to see our country be great again. Right now, we're not a great country. We're a country in decline. We are a declining country. We're laughed at all over the world. People that respected us 3 years ago, and they respected us. You wouldn't have Ukraine and Russia. You wouldn't have had the attack on Israel. You wouldn't have had that withdrawal. You would have withdrawn, but we would have withdrawn from Afghanistan with tremendous strength and power. And that's the way I had it set up. You know, in Afghanistan, we didn't lose a soldier. Many soldiers were being killed by snipers and others during the Obama administration. And Biden was there. I guess he wasn't doing so much other than collecting some cash, probably. Many soldiers were killed. And, I spoke to the head of the Taliban. They said, don't do it. Don't do it. You know, for 18 months, we didn't lose one soldier in Afghanistan. Nobody knows that. Until that fateful day where they killed our soldiers. They killed us. Think of it. They killed our soldiers. They left Americans behind, and you covered better than anybody. And they also left $85 billion of the best military equipment, because I rebuilt the military. They left $85 billion, not million, $billion worth of military equipment behind in the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And the people of this country just don't want to take this anymore. So we gave them $85 billion. They killed our people, and they have people there. They have Americans there that we didn't even get out. It was like a surrender. And after that, Russia said, well, you know, these people are incompetent. They're overrated. And they went in, they attacked Ukraine. That would have never happened. A million years. I used to speak to Putin about it. It was the apple of his eye, Ukraine, the apple of his eye. And I said, don't do it. Don't do it. I won't tell you exactly, but it was tough. In fact, he said, you wouldn't do that. I said, yes, I will. No, you won't. You won't do it. And, you know, he didn't believe me, but he believed me 10%. That's all he had to believe me. And he never did anything. I mean, he never did anything. And, and by the way, President Xi with Taiwan, I had the same conversation, different cities and different countries. I had the same exact conversation. And he would have absolutely, I mean, he's looking at Taiwan very strongly. It would have never happened. And again, for 4 years, it didn't happen, and it was never going to happen. And now it's very possibly going to happen, which would be a shame. So it's one of those things. Thank you. I'd like to be back. Thank you.
Let me ask you this. Earlier today, Joe Biden, I'm sure he mumbled the words as usual. He said this: if Trump wasn't running, I'm not sure I'd be running, he said at a campaign event today. How do you react to that?
Well, I think somebody gave him a talking point. They thought that would sound good. You know, I just found out that Democrats are funding Nikki Haley's campaign. I hear that Democrats are contributing to Ron DeSantis's, or Ron DeSanctimonious, to Ron DeSantis's campaign. And then you hear the talking points. That's the only thing they're good at, cheating on elections and great talking points. They say, we want to run against Trump. They want to run. Well, we did really well in 2016, and we did so much better in 2020. The person they don't want to run against is us. It's us. It's not me. It's us. Because it's a movement.
Damn it. That's smart. He's always, it's us, never I. He's always we or us.
Never seen the likes of what we've all done together. This is me, not me. It's everybody here. And millions and millions. I think it's not 75 million people. I think it's 150 million people. It might be more than that. I mean, who doesn't want to see strong borders and a strong military and low taxes and low interest rates and go out and buy a house?
I played on purpose because I see what the media is doing now. I put a montage together. They want to call you a dictator. You use the words, I am your...
Where's the audio? You still hear anything or no? Next time you throw no audio on my end.
Hang on. Is that better?
No, there's no audio. It just the audio.
No
clip.
audio?
You know the audio from them. Something got clipped.
Okay.
This is what we have: technical difficulties for technical people. It happens. No, but as you're fixing that, I'll give some commentary here and color commentary. Again, that's the whole idea. Everything so far has been about what we have done, what we will do. And again, that's why Make America Great Again. And I've said it. It's spoken to me because, again, in 2016, Donald Trump was an unknown entity to me. All I knew about being a business guy and being The Apprentice and watching the show. I would love watching The Apprentice on NBC. It was my show. I liked it. And it was a guilty pleasure of mine. But I didn't, understand some things, but I did love his family too. And again, the family man, the way he did. And I did not know he didn't drink. I just didn't know that. But when I found out, I said, okay, good. He's like me in a way. And right, my father. So what he did in that 4 years was amazing, and that's why, through what we all went through globally, it was very critical. Any audio? Okay, no, nothing. Why don't you reload it? Does it work? I don't know if it's going like that, but that's the whole idea. That's what happened. He came on the scene, and 4 years later, there it is. No sound.
Still no sound from Fox?
No, nothing from Fox.
Let me try it. Let me try and reload it.
Yeah. We're just trying to load it. And so that's why now the way that he is loved and beloved is because just like you and I, if we get in trouble with the law or there's something being accused of doing something, we have to go through the whole process. And again, who's our advocate? And thank God he has lawyers. But again, imagine you and I going through what they did, and again, it hit upon a lot of people, like the African American community, and really figured out, wow, okay, they're going after him. Then they just like they went after my father. Just everybody knows some family member that got screwed over by the federal government, and that resonates with Americans, and that's why. No, I don't hear anything. No,
still nothing.
Audio. Nothing. Yeah, no, nothing yet. I don't know what happened. Yeah, it was fine, and then it just stopped talking. I don't know what it is. If it's the thing. Oh my God! What did
Hang on, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to stop it and start sharing it again.
Right. That's how it works.
Okay, hang on.
And they're obvious about.
There we go. Got it.
Okay.
Then Biden goes to see them about global
Sorry
warming.
about that, folks.
The only global warming we should be thinking about and worrying about, because it could happen tomorrow, is nuclear global warming.
Oh yeah.
Almost
Best line right there.
I want to go back to this one issue, though, because the media has been focused on this and attacking you.
Yeah.
Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's
drill,
not. That's
drill.
That's not.
No, no.
That's not retribution.
I'm gonna be. You know, he keeps. We love this guy. He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, "No. Other than day one, we're closing the border." And we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator.
So that sounds to me like you're going back to the policies when you were president. All right,
exactly.
Take a break. Just getting started. We're in beautiful Davenport, Iowa. Donald Trump with us for the hour as Hannity continues. Thank you for being with us.
Okay, as is our custom, whenever they go to a commercial break, we try to get some commentary in. So, Ruben, I'm going to throw it to you, and I appreciate everybody's willingness to stay with us while we've been working our way through some technical stuff here. So, with that, I'll throw it to you, and then I'll see if I can also catch up with some of the chat.
No problem. So yeah, basically, so far that what I've heard, again, like I was saying, the idea of being an authentic American and basically saying this is not about me, it's about us. We're doing this, and that is counter to this narrative now that Trump is a dictator, Trump is Hitler, that's going on right now. And it's not a show. He's authentic when he basically says things. Is again going back to the analogy when he did The Apprentice, he would mentor these people. He worked with them. That was on the show. And that's how he is. That's how businesses work. Businesses are not run as dictatorships. Now we have these committee dictatorships, Politburos, just like Disney and Marvel and all these things. Everything's run by committee. And again, that's what's going on in Congress right now. It's been going on in politics. That's what the swamp is. And you're going to bring in real, good, clean American facts. And it's all about that. But the greatest line he said was, it's not about global warming. It's about global nuclear warming. And that is important because we don't want to go down a path of World War III. And that's a brilliant line. That's going to be viral right there. And it's again, he's class at when it comes to these lines. That's going to go down in history. That line will go down in history.
Agree completely. Just catching up with chat. Corey, thank you very much for the this super chat. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, thank you folks for sticking with us through some of the technical problems, and I think we've got most, if not all of it, worked out. Just going to hear through some of the comments. APIN, no idea. Yeah, well, yeah, and I can understand that too. I think, let me check something on the Rumble side because I think I may have gotten that straightened out. Not that I want anybody to leave, but let me look at something real quick. But yeah, and I agree with this one too. No politician draws. Yeah, no, fair enough, Yo-Yo. I understand that completely. I get that completely. I mean, the man walks in the room, and it's like Ruben said, he is, he gets,
big dick energy.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
And I don't think Rumble's going to help us tonight. Daggone it. Okay, so it looks. I apologize, folks. Apologize for all that. So, but let me keep an eye on what's going on over here.
It's a classic thing. You always have to have problems. Again, we can't have a clean stream. We have to have issues. That's the most important thing. Because again, it brings the aspect that we're just, as you put it in with a tin can operation, just very simple. And that's the idea. Because for me, it's basically I have the mic I have the little camera I have, and I have a voice, and that's all it has to be. And that's the one thing I enjoy about my videos on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at Ruben Haynes, just my name, Ruben Haynes. And I use Christopher Haynes. You Google me, I'm everywhere. Because again, I believe I'm the John Hancock of the 21st century. Just don't care. I'm basically very stoic in everything I believe. I'm a nihilist in a way, but I believe in the whole aspect of love in the future. And we're going to do this here because America is going to be great again.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have over 200 people so far watching us tonight. And thank you very much. We're glad to have you guys. Absolutely glad to have you. So we're just working our way through some stuff here and trying to get everything booted up so it's easy to follow along. So there you go.
What is a fascist anyway? What does a fascist want to be explaining? People don't understand. People don't even understand what, like democracy. We do not live in a democracy, and democracy is evil. I'm saying that. You quote me, democracy is evil. That's a true statement. And fascism is stupid. Again, we are a constitutional republic. Here we go.
Yeah, it looks like we're about ready to go back in. So Ruben and I will mute ourselves, and then we'll just wait for this. We'll just come back on the next commercial. That's kind of how we like to do these. But yeah. Oh, apparently it's not just limited to us. Matt Vinn is saying apparently it's there are two streams also not working there. So
DDoS attack from the left. They want to take Rumble down. It's doing it again, I bet you.
Yeah. Not quite sure what's going on, but I'm sorry to hear that for everybody's sake. But yeah, okay, I think I've got everything up on my side that I need to do what I got to do. So yeah, so we're very thankful you guys are here, and you guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. My name is Brian Tripp, and I'm the Front Porch Conservative. This is my good buddy Ruben Christopher Haynes. We both have YouTube channels, so I'm going to run a crawler across the bottom of the screen. Please feel free to subscribe to our channels. We'd love to have your subscriptions, and we'd love to hear from all of you. And please leave comments. Please share it around. Again, my apologies for what's going on with Rumble, but apparently it's something that's system wide from the sound of it. And I thank you for letting me know about that. I like a good, clean stream as far as like no technical stuff. So, not that I'm wanting to see it happen to anybody else, but okay, we're back in. Let me have you got sound, Ruben? Can you hear it?
Yep.
Hannity,
Okay.
we are broadcasting live tonight. Beautiful Davenport, Iowa. Thank you all for coming. We continue now with former President Donald Trump as we now head into the Iowa caucus season. A two-part question on Joe Biden. One is about his cognitive decline, and the second is about the Biden family syndicate, as I call it. Let's first play an RNC ad about Joe Biden. Take a look.
But the nature, not when the political coverage, look, some of the political players and some of the, let me ask a rhetorical question. No, I won't. Anyways.
Now, I could play tape from almost every day. I think another horrible moment for him was that gaggle on Air Force One after he left Israel.
Yeah.
So my question is, what do you think about his cognitive state? And number two, the issue of Hunter Biden, Joe Biden lying to the country as a candidate and president. I never had a discussion with Hunter or my brother or anybody for that matter on foreign business deals. We know, according to Devin Archer, he was on phone calls. We know he was meeting with oligarchs like the former First Lady of Moscow at Cafe Milano. Doesn't seem to get the attention in the media that anything involving you gets. What is your reaction to both?
Well, they've been after all of my numbers and facts and figures, and they found out that it was incredible. Somebody said, you must be the most honest guy in the world, because after all these years, and they saw everything, my tax returns, they saw everything, went up to the ceiling and they saw it. He is number one from your standpoint, cognitively. You like to use that word, cognitively. He's not good, but it's not for me to say. I will say this. I just saw a commercial by these lowlifes where they took me imitating him at a speech where we were all having a lot of fun. It's not really fun because we shouldn't be joking about it. I actually told Sean, you shouldn't joke about it. It's serious. We're dealing with nuclear. We're dealing with.
By the way, that is a true story. You actually called me and said, it's not funny, because I was joking about it.
That's not funny.
And I said, I thought about it and I said, you're right. And I said, how come you never listen to my advice?
But it's true. It's actually true, unfortunately. But, I imitated him, not finding his way off a stage. It's not really that hard. You're looking around and I walk into a wall. I say, let me see. And I do that a lot. I just sort of at some of our rallies. And then I'll say, our real president is Barack Hussein Obama. They'll say, he doesn't know who the president is. He thinks it's Barack Hussein. No, I'm being sarcastic. So they imitate it, but they're disgraceful. I'll tell you what. We are dealing, and you are dealing. I got to know them all, the leaders of the world. I got to know them all, and they're at the top of their game. Some are bad people, some are decent people. They all have one thing in common. They want what's good for their country, whether it's President Xi of China or Kim Jong-un of North Korea. You would have been, if Hillary got in, you would have been in a nuclear war. That would have been a nuclear war. any one of them. They're all, including Macron of France. I mean, you can go to any of them. Putin, they're at the top of their game. We have somebody that was never at the top of his game. 25 years ago, he wasn't one of the light bulbs. He wasn't one of the bright ones. And I tell the story. So Ted Kennedy, believe it or not, was a friend of mine because of Palm Beach. They lived in Palm Beach at what's called the Kennedy compound. And I did him a big favor one time, and somehow he liked me. I liked him, even though we were opposite in many ways, politically, certainly. And I said to him, who's the smartest guy in the Senate? And he gave me a name. I don't want to tell you because I really don't like the guy at all. Still around. I said, who's the dumbest? He said, probably Joe. I said, who's Joe? Joe Biden. It's the first time. I said, and that was it. And now I see when he's not in prime time for himself, I mean, years later, he failed on being president when he was like normal. Something is going wrong, and we can't afford it because we have a problem today. Nuclear weapons is the single biggest problem the world has. And we have people, you know, it used to be 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, nobody would have thought about nuclear. You couldn't mention the word. Now it's being mentioned at every meeting. Every time you talk, it's being mentioned. The level of power of the nuclear weapons is incredible. Like take Hiroshima or take Nagasaki, and you look, and that was many, many decades ago, and multiply that times 500. That's what a big bomb would be today, whether it's Israel or really major countries. Nuclear weapons are the biggest problem we have, and we have a man that can't put two sentences together. We have a man that doesn't know he's alive, and he's backed up by the media. The biggest problem we have, the media. The media is fake. I came up with the term a long time ago, and they won't talk about it.
And let me ask you this.
If I did some of the things that he did, they'd reinstitute the death penalty. Okay? They don't want to talk about it. When he gets paid $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife, when I brought it up at a debate, and Chris Wallace was moderating. How's he doing, by the way? Not too good. Chris Wallace, whatever happened to Chris Wallace? And I said, why is he getting $3.5 million? I want to ask him that question. And Chris Wallace interceded because Joe didn't know he was alive. And so Chris Wallace interceded, and he said, you shouldn't be asking that. And now it's a big subject. And I talked about it literally 3 years ago. But why does all this money come in from China? You know, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs from China. We gave the farmers, by the way, $28 billion. That's why I say I'm going to win Iowa. I had my people say, please, sir, don't keep saying you're going to win Iowa. You sound so really horrible. Crass. Somebody said crass. I said, but it's true. We're going to win Iowa. I gave the farmers $28 billion, and I got it from China. Who else could do that? Who else would be able to do it? Number one, who else would think about it? I think about it because the farmers were hurt very badly by China for many years. And I asked our Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, I said, Sonny, how much damage has been done over the past 7 years, 8 years? He came back, $28 billion. I said, I'm getting it from China, and I got it. And I told the farmers, go out and buy more land and go out and buy bigger tractors, right? You remember that? And I said, I'm going to win Iowa because nobody else is going to be able to do that.
Let me ask you, when prominent Democratic voices like Maureen Dowd and David Axelrod and Van Jones and others are so critical of Joe Biden, and of course, he is struggling cognitively. I can't think of, in the last couple of months, any appearance that he has had where he wasn't either mumbling or bumbling or stumbling or having no clue where to go, where to exit. Now, my question is, do you think in 11 months he will be their candidate?
I personally don't think he makes it. Okay, I haven't said that. I'm saving it for this big town hall. I personally don't think he makes it. I think he's in bad shape physically. Do you remember when he said, I'd like to take him behind the barn? If he took me behind the barn and I went like this, I believe he'd fall over. I believe he'd fall over. And who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But it was okay. And by the way, it was okay for him to say that. He said, I'd like to take him behind the... He could say that and everyone thought it was so cute. If I ever said it, they'd say, he's a dictator. He's a horrible human being. You know, it's a whole double standard we have, and not only in the law, but just about everything else, as you know very well. I personally don't think he makes it physically. I watched him at the beach. He wasn't able to lift a beach chair, which is meant for children to lift. You can lift him like that. And mentally, I would say he's possibly equally as bad and maybe worse. But I don't know. I will say this. He's got vicious people surrounding him around that beautiful Oval Office. There are people in that Oval Office that are evil people, bad people, smart people, young, vicious. They're communists and they're bad.
Who do you think would replace him then?
Well, I saw one person on who I actually had a very good relationship with, but I'm sure that it would end very quickly. I saw him in your debate the other night, and he's slick, but he's got no facts. You know, he's got no facts. I thought he did well, considering.
You're talking about Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, considering that he didn't have the facts, I thought he did well. You know, he said, we have the lowest taxes in the country. We have the cleanest streets in the country. And I'm saying, wait a minute, is he talking about the same place? So he'd certainly be one. I guess they say that Kamala would be the odds to beat. Because they say if they didn't give it to her, the African-American vote, the black vote, would not go to them. And we just had a poll where I'm at 22 and 25% with the black vote. If we have that, we can call the election over.
We got to take a break.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. A lot more to cover with former President Trump as we continue. We are in beautiful Davenport, Iowa. Thank you for being with us.
Okay, I'm gonna start this segment, and I've got some criticisms here. I mean, first of all, let's go to the top of that segment, the ad by the RNC. Okay, guys, and I'm saying this in general, and this is just me talking here. Can we, this is directed to the RNC, can we please keep this campaign on the issues that are affecting the American people? I mean, look, if Joe Biden has physical or mental problems, let the American people make that determination on their own. Please, RNC, keep it on the question of what are this current president's policies doing to the American people or for the American people. And I would say the same thing to Trump. He's being too cutesy by a half here. Okay. Well, it's not for me to say if Joe Biden has mental problems. Yeah, but you keep saying it. I mean, either come out and say what you really think about Joe Biden's mental state or leave it alone, one of the two. That's to the RNC and to Trump. I do think the other thing that kind of bothers me, and this bothers me about Trump sometimes when he gets on these rants, it's almost like an oldie goldies hit list. And that is, yeah, you're talking about all the things you've done, which I get it. You want to remind people of what your presidency was, how effective it was, and how it contrasts with the current situation. I get that part of it. But the one thing I really wish he'd do or try to do is show how his policies tie into the everyday lives of the average American. That's kind of where I'm at with this. So, you know, that's just the first things that come to me off the top of my head. I do find it interesting that Trump is out and out saying, yeah, I don't think he'll make it. I don't think he'll make it physically to the election, and it wouldn't surprise me if Gavin Newsom replaces him. That kind of amazes me. So, Ruben, I'll go ahead and throw it to you.
Yeah, you're correct. Basically, the RNC ad is basically a distraction, and it's heavily edited. So then, basically, it will just backfire on any candidate. So that's a very bad ad. And you are correct in the sense. And again, that's the whole idea. Basically, now Hannity's trying to bait him into basically saying, is he good or not? And he's trying to dance around it. And that's why he's being a little cutesy about it. And again, I get that aspect of it. But again, like you said, this is the segment was only meant to bring up the fact that, you know, he has his cognitive abilities down and let's make fun of him. And then the idea that he's telegraphing the idea Newsom will be replacing Biden. And that goes to what happened. So maybe there's something in the background because we don't know who owns Fox News, and the idea that they want a Trump Newsom fight. Who knows? There are forces out there that are doing certain things. So again, we got to be very careful. Hopefully we can get to this next segment. We'll get back on the actual relevant things and not these petty things that are going on in America, because there's much more important things going on.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, like I say, I mean, there's some things about a Trump appearance that you kind of expect to see. And the man has been around since 2015 from a political standpoint.
Right.
But sometimes you just sort of, I mean, and again, I'm not running for president. I don't know what it's like to walk in that man's shoes or Joe Biden's shoes or anyone else's shoes. I get that. But there are certain things that are good and bad about a Trump media appearance. And, like I say, the two things that stand out to me right now, I just think Trump's being too cute by a half with how he's dancing around the whole, well, do you think Joe Biden's mentally capable of being president? Well, it's not for me to say, but yeah, he's got problems. No, either come down on that one way or the other.
Right.
The other thing, like I said, is just, I get the idea you want to remind the American people of how good it was, but tie it into everyday lives. So there you go. But yeah, we've got a little bit of time before I guess we're going back in. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. This is my good friend Ruben Christopher Haynes. We've got about 450 people here, and we're glad you're all here tonight. And there's people from various opinions, which they are definitely throwing them up in chat. My apologies for not putting up more comments. I'm trying to do, and I'm not saying that to complain at all. I'm just wearing a lot of different hats, no pun intended. So, but yeah, we're glad you're here, and we're glad everybody's here. Like I say, the chat is very passionate right now, one way or the other. My only request is, if you want to disagree with somebody, just do it civilly, but don't get mean, don't get nasty. That's all I ask. But yeah, glad you guys are here. You guys are extremely cool. We're glad you're hanging out with us. Here's an interesting one. I'm not so sure that Trump would go for that idea.
No. Pompeo.
I could be wrong on that one. I could be dead wrong, but I don't think he's going to. He might. I might surprise me, but if Trump picked Pompeo for the VP, I'd be shocked. I really would.
Yeah, anybody from the three leader agencies are very, very, suspect. I don't want them. I don't want this idea. But again, if things change globally, there's a good prediction that they would put Trump back in because of the fact he has all of this stuff. I don't know. He has all that military might, and then there's a real conflict. They need something, which feeds the military industrial complex anyway. So who knows?
Could be, yeah. So yeah, we're just basically waiting for everything to come back in, and I'll end this little. Oh, okay, we're back in. So here we go, folks.
Welcome back to Hannity. We are in Davenport, Iowa, with a massive fun crowd, a rowdy crowd, and with GOP frontrunner President Donald Trump. Let me just throw out a list of some of the significant issues that we're facing as a country, and you've touched on a number of them. You mentioned borders, day one. You mentioned energy, day one. Look at where our economy is. Last year, $2 trillion in debt, $34 trillion overall. Right. We this year, Mr. President, will pay, before we spend a dime, $1 trillion on debt service alone. Right. Before Medicare, Social Security, national defense. That is unsustainable.
Yeah. So before COVID hit us, our gift from China, that was our gift. What happened to us with COVID, commonly known as the China virus. They don't like that. But it was a China virus. We were doing energy, taking our liquid gold out of the ground at a rate that's never been seen before, and it was going up. We were going to be using that liquid gold to sell to Europe instead of the pipeline from Russia, which I exposed and I stopped. I stopped that line. Then they say I was nice to Russia. There was nobody that was nice. I was not nice to Russia. I stopped that pipeline. We would have been selling oil and gas to Europe, to Asia, all over the world. We would have been paying off debt. That debt would be way down right now because we have more. What people don't know, we have more liquid gold than any other country in the world by far. And we started off in fourth place. We were number 4. It was Saudi Arabia, it was Russia, it was 2 countries fighting for number 3, and it was us at number 4 or 5. By the time I left, we were number 1 by 25%. We would have been number 1 by 100, and we would have done twice what they were going to do combined. We would have been paying off debt, and we would have been reducing taxes. We gave you the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, bigger than the Reagan tax cut. We would have been reducing taxes still further. And that's why, Sean, that's why we had the most jobs of any president ever. because we got rid of regulations, tremendous. No president got rid of more regulations or close. And we gave you the big tax cut. So everybody had incentive and everybody was happy and everybody was working. I remember groups came to see me that wouldn't normally like me. And they said, we've never seen anything like it. We were actually starting to get along, but we got hit with the China virus. Some people think purposely. I don't. I think it was incompetence, but some people think purposely, because we were doing so much better than any other country ever. And we got hit. But I will tell you, we would be paying that debt off right now at levels like never seen before.
So
and it would have been a beautiful thing.
You brought us to energy independence for the first time in 75 years. Before you ran, I remember we had many discussions about energy independence. And you're saying that you would, in a second term, you will push America to be the most energy dominant country on earth, and that you could pay down that $34 trillion in debt, and we won't have $1 trillion interest payment every year.
That's right. We would get it way down. And, look, so it's Biden inflation. That's what it is. What he did with energy is unbelievable, because energy went up so much, gasoline, $5, $6 a gallon, that's what caused inflation. Now it's all over the place, but you have 29% total inflation. Now when it holds up, because the economy is starting to slow down very substantially, so when it holds up, he's saying, well, we don't have too much inflation, but he doesn't talk about all of the inflation that you've had to suffer over the last 3 years. No, we will have numbers like you've never seen. We have a thing in Alaska called ANWR. Ronald Reagan tried to get it approved. Everybody took Bush maybe a little bit, he didn't work as hard. But we have ANWR in Alaska, the biggest anywhere in the world, including probably Saudi Arabia. I got it approved. I was so proud of it. They ended it in the first week. They ended it. They turned, we'll get it back. But we have more than anybody. We have more wealth than anybody, but we don't use it. And then guys like DeSantis and guys like many of the Democrats, but guys like DeSantis and to a lesser extent, Nikki Haley, they want to play around with your Social Security. You don't have to touch Social Security. We have money laying in the ground far greater than anything we can do by hurting senior citizens with their Social Security. Ron DeSantis wanted to bring up on Social Security. Now, of course, he says, well, I wouldn't. But one thing I learned about politicians, I've known them, I've dealt with them on the other side for a long time. Their first thought is always the thought that they go to. He wanted to raise the minimum age, the age on Social Security to 70. That's a big increase. But he also wanted to raise it to 75. If that happened, people would be devastated. We have such incredible wealth under our feet that takes care of everything. It will take care of, if you go to Saudi Arabia and they bought many Boeings, many planes, and I said to them, do you use financing for that? They didn't even know what the word meant. They have so much money. They have a fund, $21 trillion. It's all for oil. And we have more oil and gas than they do. Our country can be rich again. John Kerry has to be stopped. He's destroying our country. This guy. I mean, think of it. He goes all over the world in a private jet, by the way. He goes all over the world talking to these people about getting rid of coal plants. They all laugh at him. They, treat him with respect. He's gone. They say, what an idiot. What a jerk. And then they go ahead and they build their coal plants. He goes to China about, let's say, the atmosphere. He talks about global warming. He talks about they don't call it global warming so much. Now they call it climate change because it wasn't working. Global warming wasn't working when it was cooling. So now they call it climate change. That takes care of everything. I am an environmentalist, but we're going to destroy our country with this Green New Deal stuff that doesn't work. Just to finish, we have so much wealth and power under our feet. No other country has it. China doesn't have it. Why are we going to electric? They do have what you need to do the batteries, but they don't have what you need to do the gasoline. We have, and it's what people want to drive right now. And there's a little story about it, but you're going to see it a lot, I guarantee you. They have so many electric vehicles, nobody wants to buy them. They're expensive. Well, probably get them.
By the way,
now nobody wants to buy them.
3,000 dealers around the country wrote Biden and said, please stop making us sell something they don't want. Ford lost $4.5 billion. Let me ask you this.
You know the government is subsidizing that.
A lot. They're
So
paying a
they're
lot.
saying every time you make a car, we give you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and the people don't want them. And I'm not knocking electric cars. We should sell electric, but we should also sell combustion engine gasoline cars. We can sell hybrids. The hybrids are fine. We should be able to buy everything. Some people might like an electric car. We should be able to buy an electric car. But to say that we're not going to do, and this is our strength because we have this stuff under the ground and we have people going around really destroying our country. They're destroying our country at the border. They will allow, in my opinion, because you don't hear the real numbers, 15 million people into our country by the time Biden gets out, which hopefully will be very soon. If they get another term, this country is finished. By the time he gets out, and the people are coming from prisons all over the world, they're coming from mental institutions all over the world, and they're terrorists. And this country is going to be suffering a very big price. It's amazing that it hasn't happened. And interestingly, I had very strong borders, the strongest ever. We had the strongest border in history. All they had to do is leave Brandon Judd and leave Tom Homan and leave all these guys.
Let me put this up on the screen.
Borders. Yeah, we had the strongest borders in history.
Let me put this on the screen.
Go ahead.
Iran is the #1 state sponsor of terror.
Right.
Okay. Well, foreign nationals founded our southern border because of Joe Biden's open borders.
Right.
From Iran, 659. From Syria, 538. From Afghanistan, 6,386. Egypt, 3,153. 12,605 from Russia, 26,113 from China. Now, could you explain to me, what do you think the odds are that among that group of people, from our top geopolitical foes in most cases, that terror cells have entered the country because of the 8 million people Joe Biden has allowed into this country unvetted? What are the odds?
The odds are 100%. Look, why do we have 26,000
How
people?
scary is that?
Think of it. It's 100. No, it's 100%. And by the way, we had nothing during remember I had the travel ban. I said, I don't want people coming from countries that want to blow us up. And we put a travel ban, and some people thought I was discriminating. But if you think about it, I went 4 years with no problem. We didn't have any problem. We didn't have buildings being knocked down. We didn't have World Trade Centers. We didn't have any of that. We had a very strong travel ban. And if you came from a country that was a country, I can tell you right now, I can name every one of them. We just didn't want you. I'm sorry. And we actually had it passed by the Supreme Court. And that was a big day. But we didn't have a problem.
Got to take a break. We'll come back. More with that from Davenport, Iowa, with former President Donald Trump. Straight ahead as we continue.
Okay, that's segment number 3. Ruben, I'm going to throw it over to you for the first set of comments.
Very quickly, again, talking about what his accomplishments, what he did, and the wars that they're going to go away, and then the idea that first thing was about the oil. Again, yes, we have this resource. It is not it's not a fossil fuel. That's the one thing that I hate when they say this. It's natural, it's in the ground, and it's true. We have the largest oil reserves, shale reserves, coal reserves on the planet. We are the richest country, and we should be utilizing it. And again, to bring everything back, manufacturing, what he did, low gas, good economy, drill baby drill, getting it done and making America great again. It's very simple formula, helping Americans help each other and removing those restrictions out of the way, and then closing the damn border. And that's the most important thing here. Again, it's all smart, and it goes back to what he said.
Yeah, a couple of things that I took away from that segment. The idea of being able to use our natural resources as a way to pay down debt. Okay, I got no problem with that. But as a mild criticism, and I'm not necessarily expecting him to do it in this setting, but some politician, be it Trump or someone else, has got to talk about taking on the national debt and what it's doing to the economy. So, but yeah, I agree with you on the idea of talking about our ability to use our natural resources, if for no other reason, to lower costs for fuel for the average American, and also the cost of goods in general. The other thing I noticed, that segment was the first time that Trump really went after DeSantis and Haley with any length of time or with any particular shots. Yeah, I mean, you notice throughout most of this debate, Trump is absolutely like almost laser focused on Biden. Because,
Right.
I mean, and when you're 30 points ahead on average in the polls, you can be that kind of focused on the general election. But he did take some shots at Haley and DeSantis finally. One other thing I want to say, and kind of goes back to comments I made in the previous segment, Trump's speaking style is almost kind of like stream of consciousness, but he hits his marks. In other words, he knows what points he wants to put in. He knows what subjects he wants to talk about. And even though sometimes it seems like he's all over the place, and don't get me wrong, I've got my criticisms of Trump, but I give him this. His speaking style may be different than most people in polished politics, but he definitely hits his points. He knows what things he wants to emphasize. And that's what I come away from that with. And right now, again, thank you everybody for being with us tonight. We've got about 500 people on YouTube, on Rumble, or not. Well, Rumble's got its problems tonight, apparently, with the website. And for everybody who crossed over from Rumble to here, we're glad to have you. What?
Well, what's important also to note, that's the whole idea that a politician is polished. They are prepared, overly prepared to a certain extent where it becomes inauthentic. And then again, the fact that you have Trump and the way that he acts, and he acts basically like somebody just, he is a
keep talking.
When prominent Democratic voices like Maureen Dowd and
are we back in?
David Axelrod.
Okay, we're back in.
Wait, this is past. This is before.
Joe Biden.
Thank you.
Oh shit!
They've ended it?
No, it couldn't have ended.
Couldn't be. All right, hang on. Keep talking, Ruben.
Yeah. So that's and that's the whole idea. The fact that he's authentic. He shoots from the hip. He is a styled businessman. He's a styled negotiator. That's what he does. So then, of course, his style is not going to come off as polished, not as an elder statesman. He's going to be rough on the edges. And you know who else was rough on the edges when you think about it?
Credit card, but
people like
that's
fine. People like Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson. If you hear history, you see the stories they did, the womanizing, the things that, again, the parties going around. They had fun, they drank, they had good time. But again, when it came down to getting work done, they did work for the one thing, the people, and that was the one thing. And just like, who is it? I was reading about Benjamin Franklin. And again, I admire him as one of my idols. And again, the Franklin stove and everything like that he did, and then the glasses, and then of course, but again, all things he did. And Churchill, another one, did things, drank, had fun, and all that stuff. But the whole idea here is that someone's going to be real, someone's going to be something like that. Who cares? And what is his record? What did he do? And what will he do again? And that's the most important thing. And we want authenticity back in the world.
Okay, it looks like we're back in, folks.
Could have tied that better.
Welcome back to Hannity Broadcasting from Davenport, Iowa. Thank you so much for being here. We continue with former President Donald Trump. The Iowa caucus is coming up soon. Let me give you the last word tonight. The people of Iowa, the first caucus, not that far away. Your final message to the people.
Well, first of all, I love the state. We had two big victories here, big victories. We won by a lot. And from the enthusiasm in the polls, we're going to win by a lot more than we won even the last two times. But we won by a lot. I kept you first in the nation. You know that. I was the one. Nobody else. I kept you first. There was a big move, Sean, to move Iowa into the middle or to the back of the pack because they don't know if it represents this country. I said, Iowa represents this country more than any place, and it also represents tradition. When you think of Iowa, you think of farms and you think of politics, and we're going to keep it that way, okay? But I just want to thank the people in this room because they really get it. I don't have to go through the liquid gold with them. They know all about it. And they also know they have their own liquid gold. It's called corn. Okay. And that corn is just as good. But I love you very much. You've been so incredible to me. I'm going to be around for the next, it's 5 weeks now. And we'll be coming here a little bit. And then the last couple of weeks, we'll be blitzing because we don't want to we're up, I guess, by like 30 or 40 points, but we're not taking any chances. We don't want to take any chance. And you know, the really nice thing, you know, when you have a good time and when you love people and they love you, this hour went so fast. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
President Donald Trump. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have left this evening. Thank you for being with us. Quick programming note, live audience shows in New York City tomorrow, Wednesday, and one on Thursday. Just go to Hannity.com. Tickets are free. Let not your heart be troubled. Greg Gutfeld is next. He put a smile on your face. Thank you, Davenport. God bless you.
Okay, and I'm going to take this down and bring it back to our discussions. I'm Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. I'm here with my good buddy Ruben Christopher Haynes. Ruben, and there was a fair point that was brought up that, you know, this was advertised as a town hall. I was under the anticipation there were going to be questions, but apparently not so much, which I find a little disappointing. But yeah, I saw that comment in chat, and that was absolutely fair. So, Ruben, give me your overall thoughts.
It was, again, a lot of good one-liners. It was reminiscent of Reagan, basically whole idea of nuclear global warming that was very prominent. The idea that of what he has done in the past 4 years, what he wants to do again, and his moniker of basically saying we, not I. It's not personal. It's basically something that he wants to do because he loves America and wants to be America again. And the idea of drilling, the idea of the riches we have here, he said that 34 trillion, let's pay it with, let's drill and pay it off. Let's get rid of it. Closing the border. Again, things that we all hear, but it's all about the messages of hope. And that's what's a good thing. Yes, he has his rough edges. He took his shots at Haley and DeSantis, and then he brought up the Newsom, which is the biggest thing to actually say. And then the whole segment of the cognitive was the one, like, you know, sour note, the idea that bringing that up, having the RNC show their true colors and how disingenuous they are in their whole regard. But I think he has to basically start distancing himself from it, and he did backtrack in a way, because he did say he apologized for making fun of Trump, for Biden like that, and he has to be presidential in that way. And then he did circle around, but again, he has to stick to it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think I can almost see what's going to happen tomorrow. The one line that's going to get clipped by the media. Yeah, I want to be a dictator for one day. And I thought, oh, here it comes. He set himself up for it at the very beginning. So yeah, the other things I thought, just coming out and saying, yeah, I anticipate it's going to be Newsom I'm taking on. I thought, wow, that's kind of ballsy. Yeah, I'm not going to bring up the comment, but I know why you're doing it, Ruben.
It's fine. I can't. But the glasses I have, I can't really see out. They're old, so I can barely see what's inside. It's fine. It looks. We want to match up.
Good evening, Flagrant. Yeah, if you're getting in on the tail end of this, my name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. This is my good buddy Ruben Christopher Haynes. We've been covering Trump's appearance on Hannity tonight. If you're not subscribed to either one of our channels, well, here's your chance tonight to do so. So, give some brothers some subs. I saw a comment in chat, and this came from one of my regular viewers, KZ Gypsy. Not sure what Trump accomplished with this. I can't disagree with that. I mean, like I said, I was expecting town hall. I was expecting questions from the audience, which to me, I really wish would have happened, because I like seeing that kind of interaction, and not just with Trump, but just with any politician in general. If you're going to ask for the vote of the American people to be the most powerful man in the world, then you should be willing to take some comments and commentary from people in an audience. So, but yeah, we're glad everybody's been here tonight. And again, despite technical problems, apparently Rumble had a website-wide issue, as was reported very early by somebody in our chat. There were other live streams that were having trouble too. But technical troubles aside, again, I count this as a very big success. I'm glad every one of you is here. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I love the passion in the chat. You guys are absolutely on fire, regardless of whether you're for Trump, against Trump, whether you're conservative, whether you consider yourself liberal or progressive. Maybe you're somewhere down the middle. We're glad to have you. And I got to say a thank you to Mr. Dave. I'm glad you found me. Glad you found us. Please subscribe to Ruben's channel. Please subscribe to mine. We're glad you're here. Absolutely glad you're here. And like I say, if you're coming across us for the first time, just we're going to be doing events like this going into 2024. I gave a shout out to Flagrant Triggers. He's going to be hosting with us at some point, next year, especially on primary nights and definitely the general election. I've got some ideas in my head right now. But yeah, I can't wait for 2024. And you guys are just absolutely awesome. On the whole, like I said, Trump he hits his marks. And yeah, a lot of these felt like they were coming out of the graveyard of forgotten favorites. But then again, when you're trying to set up a contrast between what you had in Trump's 4 years versus what you've got in Biden's, you've got to constantly remind people, this is what you had, this is what you've got, this is what we could go back to. And, we're glad everybody's here. Just for my part, I do videos and live streams through the week. So please hit the bell for notifications if you're subbing to my channel for the first time. Aside from my videos, I do a weekend live stream called Front Porch Brunch. And we're just usually reviewing news and news items. Ruben, I'll throw it to you. Tell people about your channel. Tell people where they can find you.
I have several channels. I have my OG channel. I've been doing YouTube for a very long time, and it's basically just an outlet for myself and what I'm doing. The first one I have is my weight loss quest. It's on YouTube. I've been doing it for 14 years on my regular channel here on YouTube, and it's basically about my own journey through my own health issues, what I've been dealing with and fighting back. And men's health issues are very critical to me. And I'm all about love and being happy with my life. And I'm just changing it around because I basically went through a lot through my life. Lost my wife, my family, have a very rare autoimmune condition. And I don't follow conventional medicine. I basically am a very holistic, and I think about the idea that I can heal myself. I'm also on X. I'm also on Rumble, and I have lots of channels there where I'm going to start to put out more content. I'm basically following that footsteps of Ben Franklin, from Thomas Edison, from Da Vinci, from Tesla, to have somebody. I'm going to start designing things, building things. I'm a musician. I'm a scientist. I'm actually a chemist as well, astrophysics as well. I write, I have lectures, I speak. I've spoken to many things. I have a 30-year career in technology and in business. And I basically said to myself, well, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to work for a corporation. So I'm actually I've reached out to a few people here. I want to start help producing content, be a panelist, help out with websites. I want to eventually help orphanages, kids, give my profits away, because I have basically sold all my possessions, taking that vow of poverty to be a pauper philanthropist. And that's coming for 2024, because I believe in, if I want to be the ray of light in the darkness around the world, I have to start with myself. And I'm loving myself, and I'm making a great stride to do that. And I want to celebrate today that the fact that, Brian had became monetized, and on top of this last stream, we peaked over 600 people doing the Newsom DeSantis debate. I'm very proud to have a friend like Brian, and we can do this because it's two Americans coming together, because we met each other in Orlando last year. And this channel was just a wisp of an idea. And that's the whole idea.
Truth.
America is the land of opportunity. You can still make it. And that the thing here is, I'm not just going to say you can make it, go for it, and be all you can be. If you need help, have an idea. And again, I've talked with Brian, I've talked with Cam, I've talked to a lot of people. I bounce off ideas from me. What do I want out of it? I just want to know that you're happy and you are that you have someone who's got your back. Because again, I myself am doing this. I'm improving my life. I have dropped in the last year alone 250 pounds. A year before that, about 150. So I have went down from 650. I'm currently at 345. And I'm going to be Mr. 199. Hail out to Geeks and Gamers and Nerd Rock, because that's important. Because I'm going to change my life. And again, I'm going to give back to everybody that I've given back to. I have not a penny to my name right now, but I don't care, because I'm going to be true. I'm going to work with people and change their lives. And I'm changing myself, and we will rise and make America great again. Thank you.
Well, and I've got to say a thank you to Dave H for the super chat. Let's go, Brand. Let's go, Brandon is right, buddy. And thank you, and thank everybody for being so extremely generous tonight. Like I say, I just got official word today that my account has been approved for the YouTube partner program, and I wasn't even going to bring up the subject of super chats. I really wasn't, because it's the holiday season, and I know everybody's got travel plans. That's going to cost them money. They've got gifts to buy for family members. That's going to cost them money. They've got occasions to go to, office parties, etc. And I'm like, this can wait till January. But for everybody, Corey and Dave, and up in Connecticut, my very first super chat, by the way. Thank you so much. You guys are extraordinarily generous. Very much so. We're going to keep on doing things like this. Ruben is going to be hosting a watch party for the Republican debate on Thursday night. I was going to do it, and I had forgotten that I have a medical test Friday morning. It's nothing bad. Don't anybody panic. It's a medical test that's standard that I got to do every few years, and the preparation for that is not pleasant. And if you're catching the word preparation, you might know what I'm referring to. It's a crappy situation. We'll just let you figure it out from there. And thank you, Gypsy. Y'all are just too sweet. I'm serious, and I'm not trying to be hokey about this. Y'all are just too nice. Thank you.
Christmas is a time of miracles. Basically, you realize one thing, that each of us at one point in our lives will realize that we are George Bailey, and that people do love us, and we are the richest people in the world at that moment because of that. Because it's not about money, because money's a construct. It's not real. It's about the real wealth of friends and love around you.
And up in Connecticut brings up a very interesting point about my procedure on Friday. I get to get highly. I love my audience. I swear. Folks, if you're just getting here for the first time to my channel, I've got to tell you, I've got the smartest audience on the internet. It's comments like that one that reinforce how much I love you guys. But anyway, this has been an awesome night. Oh, okay? Well, I thought the debate was Thursday.
Oh,
okay,
Wednesday?
Ruben, check that. You're probably gonna want to check that, because, like I said, my plan was that I was gonna host a live stream covering it. I'm not going to be able to because of what I have to do to prepare for my medical procedure on Friday. So Ruben has agreed to graciously host it on his channel, and so yeah, that's what's going on. But yeah, like I said, okay, maybe it is tomorrow night.
December 6th? Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Oh, it is? Oh, well, Ruben, you
got
work to do.
I got work to do then. Okay, so then basically what I'll be doing, follow me on X. On X, I'm at Ruben Haynes. You follow the link just below on YouTube. I'll put everything out there. I'll do the YouTube thing. I'll break it up and do it that way.
Okay.
It's good again. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that too. And I'll make some. I'll figure it all out. That's my job. Again, I can do this. So I'll get it.
Yeah. Now the good news is, folks, if you're watching, that debate is going to be on Rumble. So,
or bad news if it doesn't work. Just kidding.
Well, no, wait a minute. If the debate's tomorrow night. Oh, okay. We're going to talk about this off air. We're going to figure this thing out.
That's fine.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay. Folks, it's about 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. at this point, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because we all know you've got lives and jobs and everything else you got to go to. Again, my name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. This is my colleague, Ruben Christopher Haynes. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Folks, if you're not subscribed to our channels, please still consider doing so. We'd love to have you. And we will catch you next time. So thanks once again for stopping by. Have a good night.